Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alison, the online piano and violin tutor. So since it has been several years since I released my original violin lessons 1 to 10, which are now beginning to look a little bit dated, I thought it would be a really good time to revisit and release new and up-to-date videos using the latest technology available to me. As well as updating all of the free PDF sheets from the original lessons, I've written a songbook 1 that will accompany these lessons. Once you've finished lesson 10, I then encourage you to have a go at this songbook, which contains 10 well-known classical and original pieces, which is going to help you practice and reaffirm the knowledge and skills gained from video lessons 1 to 10. What's great about this book is that instead of hunting all over the internet trying to find suitable pieces to play for your current level, only to find pieces that you like but are too hard, this is where the Songbook 1 comes in, as it will not only contain pieces you'll be able to manage, but each piece comes complete with its own separate video performance and tutorial where I will help you through the piece. So let's get started with the new violin lessons 1 to 10, and I hope you enjoy them. Okay, so for lesson 2, I'm just going to very quickly take you through the parts of the violin. Now, you might think that this is a completely irrelevant lesson, but it isn't, because there's going to be terms that you're going to be hearing throughout your violin playing career and your teachings and your stumblings across the internet and this, that and the other. So it's also quite helpful to know what everything does on the violin, why it's there, why you might need it, anything you might want to replace, the reasons why, and all that kind of thing. So I think this is quite a relevant video. So first thing is I'm just going to talk about the chin rest that I've got here. Now, this is called a Molko chin rest. I get so many comments and questions about what my chin rest is and where I got it from. And you can get it, it's one of these. So the reason why I like this is because it's a very thin chin rest. If you can see that a little bit clear. So it's a lot thinner than the standard ones that you get, and it's cross-hatched on the front of it, which doesn't really make that much of a difference, but it's just a good identifier with the chin rest. So this is called a Molko chin rest. I will have this link directly underneath the video if I can find it. It's not very expensive and it's very easy to replace. I've got a video on how to replace the chin rest, so I will put that directly underneath this if you're wondering how to do that. But this is the chin rest, and this is the Molko chin rest. But that is the chin rest I like, and I have it on all the violins that I have on my electric violin. Moving on to the tailpiece. So this is the tailpiece, and this is where the strings sit in and connect in. If you've got a student violin, you'll probably find that the tailpiece you've got is plastic or possibly made of tin. This is an ebony tailpiece. You can replace these if you want to. Just replacing it with ebony just means that it is going to change slightly the tone of the violin, but it just means that it's perhaps not going to be so heavy and so kind of bulky. And they do look quite nice as well, having nice ebony tailpieces. Moving on from there, we've got the fine tuner. So you'll notice that I've only got one fine tuner, and that's on the E string. If you've got a student type violin, then you'll find that you'll probably have 4 fine tuners, and they will help you fine tune the strings. When you first get your violin, you'll want to probably tune using the pegs because you'll need to move the strings too much. These do what it says on the tin, so they're fine tuners. So if you've tuned the string to as much as you can with the peg, but it's just got a teeny tiny bit more to go, that's when your fine tuners come in. So you'll generally find when you start playing in a practice session and they're just a tiny bit out of tune, that's when you will then just use your fine tuners. So it saves you having to use the pegs all the time. This violin that I've got here, I get asked so many times as well under the comments what violin I've got. This is an antique, around about 1800 to 1850 Mittenwald violin from that area. So it's a German violin. It was a Baroque violin, but back in the day, what they used to do is rip out the necks of the Baroque violins because they were a lot shorter than this. So this is a Baroque body, but it is a classical neck. So they would rip out the old necks of the Baroque violins and put in a classical violin neck, so it was a little bit longer. So it kind of stepped up into, it just modernized the violins. So this is an antique violin, and this has been set up and made in such a way that I can tune with the pegs if I really want to. Personally, I do tune with the pegs because I find I can get a better tune, but if you've got a student quality violin, they won't be set up in quite such a way, but then you're not paying that kind of money to have your peg box set up in that kind of way, so which is where the fine tuners will come in. but they're easier to use anyway if you're a beginner. Okay, now let's talk about the bridge. So you will notice on the bridge that it is slanted, and you will notice that the G string is higher than the E string. So when you get your violin and you're setting it up, if the bridge is the other way round, so if the lowest part of the bridge is on the G string and the highest part is on the E, you need to turn that bridge around. Now, you can get better bridges, you can get Aubert bridges. This is an Aubert bridge, but kind of almost comes with a semi-warning in that you can't just buy a bridge and stick it on the violin. The bridges have to be made to measure. So the bridge that you will get will almost be perhaps a lot flatter than what you've got at the moment. So that the bridge will have to be sanded down. So if you do that, you have to be an expert in doing that, or really have to send it to a violin luthier to fit that for you. You cannot just buy one bridge fits all. This bridge won't fit any other violin that I've got. I mean, it possibly will, but I'll find the strings will be flat against the fingerboard, or the strings will be too high, depending on, the height of the bridge, how it's been sanded down, the curvature as well. I've got more of a curve on my bridge because I just prefer it that way. So you can replace the bridges if you want to, but you will have to get them fitted and measured in. So I briefly talked about it earlier, but this is the neck of the violin. So this is where you put your hand, and you can move your hand into different positions. So this part here is called the neck of the violin, and then you've got the scroll up here. This is the scroll, so you can see it looks like a scroll, and this is the peg box area where you've got your pegs. And then pretty much the final thing is that you've got the F holes here, which is where the sound resonates from, and inside, usually from either side, you can actually see the sound post. Don't play around with the sound post, guys, because the sound post has been fitted exactly where it needs to be fitted. If you've bought a brand new violin and the sound post is rattling around inside it, you need to take that violin back to the shop, because there's no way you're getting in there to sort that sound post out. Once the sound post drops, the violin is kind of messed up. You can't use it because it's going to sound really, really nasally. Then you run the risk of actually breaking the body of the violin. When you're putting pressure on the strings, you almost don't have anything inside to kind of support the top of the body of the violin. So the bridge is keeping the strings in its place, but then you've got the sound post is there to support, just structurally the same you would as a building, but it's also there to help with the sound and the tonality of the sound as well. So it's kind of dual purpose. So if that ever does fall out, then unfortunately you need to go somewhere to go and get that repaired. It's almost like a special tweezer tool that I've seen them put inside the violins that are angled in such a way that they go in through the F hole. They don't take the violin apart. They usually just go in through the F hole and just adjust it from there. So that is pretty much it, other than obviously the violin bow, which you guys know about. But that is all the different parts of the violin. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in lesson 3.